So I am supposed to be laid up in a hospital right now in pain, sucking down some painkillers and walking through the hallway. Because, anytime you have a major surgery, they have you walking around in a hospital to make sure you don't have any blood clots, and then just to get you up and moving. I'll never forget that when I had a hysterectomy. It was like, what? You just cut me today? You want me to walk? Seriously? But hey, got to get those blood clots, keep the blood clots from forming. But instead, I've been home, as you can see. In fact, it was a very good day. I got a lot of things done. I got appointments scheduled. Got to communicate with people. Went to lunch with a friend. Yeah, so it's been a really good day instead of being in pain and laid up in the hospital. Yep, that's coming, but it's not happening today. And I'm thanking God for that. So as you already know, my surgery date for today was pushed back to June because during the month of March, something strange was happening in my lungs. I had a major decline in lung function because you already know I had eosinophilus asthma. So I just, like I said, can't be normal, can't be regular asthmatic. No, I have to have high blood counts where my allergens are really high in my bloodstream. So that's a whole kind of different treatment. What do you call those things? Inhalers don't work for me. The only maintenance I have is a maintenance inhaler, but that's every single day. So that's not like a rescue inhaler so those kind of things don't work for me because I haven't used a rescue inhaler since 21. Once I was on a different biologics for this, which I had just got off of in 24 April for 3 years, I hadn't ever had to use the inhaler, the rescue one, just the regular maintenance one, just to maintain whatever level of stuff they needed, medication in my body, just to maintain me, right? So I never had to use a rescue inhaler. Always they expired. Always had to keep buying them because I had to make sure I had one just in case. Then I also have to carry around an EpiPen just in case. And then that always expires because thanks to God, I've never ever had to use the EpiPen, but I have to carry it around just in case. So, but it's in my purse. So anyway, so that decline was real interesting because it happened in March. I was already having breathing problems, like I've mentioned before in the prior videos, since December, because this all started before the diarrhea and everything. I was having breathing problems in December, but it wasn't as bad as it had gotten. So at that time was just I could tell something's not right, and that's why I got the doctors involved because I knew the minute I started coughing that was not a good sign because I hadn't coughed since 2021 either. So the minute I started coughing unusually longer than normal, and I could tell it wasn't COVID. It wasn't COVID. It's like, nah, this is asthmatic kind of cough. So okay, we got to get the pulmonologist involved, and they have been involved since March. So we've been testing and doing all that kind of stuff to get to me to this point. And then at the same time, while that was going on, then the tumor came up in the middle of all that too. So I can't just have one thing going on at the same time. Let's breathe improperly and have some kind of thing growing in my body. Woo! Just like I said, can't be normal. Anyhow, so March. Somehow my lung declined. Well, actually what was happening, my eosinophilin numbers went up unexpectedly. The doctor's been trying to figure out what have I been exposed to that's making those numbers go up, because they're meaning I'm being exposed to some kind of allergen that's making them go up. And I'm like, not anything unusual and normal because I can't get away from dust. So it's in this house, it's wherever I go. So it's one of the main allergens right there. So I'm exposed to that on a regular. Can't do anything about that. And some of the other stuff, sometimes I can't do anything either unless I'm going to live in a bubble where I'm not outdoors, not among trees and all that kind of stuff, because those are some of my allergens. And then, right, who lives like that? I can't do that. I'm an outdoors person. I need to be outdoors, walking around, moving in this body that God gave me. And, sometimes wearing a mask makes a big difference because it does keeps the pollen down and whatnot. because the spring trees will be starting any minute now. Actually, they're already started. So this lung function went down in such a way that was strange for the doctors too, because it was so quick, so fast, 2-3 weeks. And then I'm at the same time getting ready, had the surgery date all planned. And then we saw, whoa, something's not right going on in the lungs. Now, during this month of March is when I went to the hospital to ER the day I was supposed to be going to Phoenix, which I canceled. And then the ER doctor, told me that he wanted me to start taking my Pro Air, my rescue inhaler, for 4 times a day. Wow. Yeah, 4 times a day, because of, at the time they could tell I had pneumonia had in the left lung pneumonia, so they wanted to make sure I did that. And then they had me on antibiotics for 10 days, if I remember that 10-day, right? I think it was 10 days. So cool. You know, I'm all about doing the antibiotics, as long as it's for short term. And then the Pro Air, okay. I mean, the rescue inhaler, okay, we'll do that, even though I hadn't had to use it. The disadvantage, and not the disadvantage, the lack of usefulness, like I've mentioned before, is those kind of things don't help me. When you have a rescue inhaler, you can only take a dose every 4 hours, and something like that would, it helps real quick to maybe slow down whatever my symptom was, but it only lasts for an hour and a half. So that means I still got another hour and a half that I'm really back to wherever I started from, and I've got to wait to another hour and a half before I get some more help. So it's kind of like, it's such a short term, not fix, cover up, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just not as effective as I would prefer it to be. Let's go with that. So did that because it was suggested that I do that. So I did that. And then Holy Spirit came in, because once it got close to the surgery date, and the what do you want to call it? The anesthesiologist, because I had the pre-op admission meeting, which it was in another video that you have to go back to listen to. She decided that no, your lungs aren't good enough to do the surgery. So, because she did it just from her listening to it. She hadn't done an X-ray yet. Listening to it didn't sound good, and then she did an X-ray just to back up her story, her claim that my lungs were not well enough to do this. I mean, I need to breathe. When you're going to knock me out, I want to be able to come right back in. Like, okay, you knocked me out, you pulled out this thing, but then am I able to wake up and walk around functioning and be in pain? So they canceled. They pushed it back because they wanted to make sure the pulmonologists work on the lungs. So we got pushed back to June. So we got 2 months to get my lungs in a condition that is healthy enough to do the surgery. And blessing for me, of course, it's a slow growing growth, so it's not like it's a real big hurry to hurry up and get it. I know a lot of people have been mourning about me not going into surgery to me. I'm like, hey, God said it's not time. We're going to wait a couple more months. I'm cool. It works way better for my schedule. It works way better for what his plan is for me, because to have all the stuff going on at the same time anyway, totally God ordained, and we already know there a whole lot of glory is going to come through. His glory is going to come through this journey that he has me in, because we just can't have one thing going on at the same time. So while during that week, which would have been last week when I sent that video out saying, okay, the plans have changed, the surgery has been pushed back a week, the Holy Spirit made it real clear that I needed to stop using the rescue inhaler. Don't even want to go into details how that happened, because there was a lot of details. And I said, Holy Spirit, okay, is it this? Because I had to figure out what was different happening in a month. Only thing that happened different was I had the antibiotics and the Pro Air. Nothing else had changed. Why did my lungs have this drop in the lung function and a spike in my blood level, eosinophilus, and I know I probably keep pronouncing it wrong, levels? And I said, Holy Spirit made it real clear, stop taking it. So the day that happened was the day that I got rejected, but I got told that we were canceling, and I had did the video for you. And but I didn't know that yet about the cancellation, the stopping of the gosh, rescue inhaler. It's words. It's always about words. It's like stuff just escape out of my mind. I'm not trying to say I'm older and I can't think of these words. It just, I don't get it. Somehow they just disappear on my head. So we're not going with that. Because, you know, I always have a problem trying to remember words when I'm talking out loud. But anyway, so, or even what the right word is. So that night, after I had did the video, the Holy Spirit made it real clear, you're going to stop this. So I was at 4 o'clock. I can remember exactly it was 4 o'clock when I got the message to stop it. And the reason why I remember it was 4 o'clock because I was in the car with a student I'm a driver ed instructor, and I got the message then because I had used it right then because it seemed like I needed it right then. And it was like, normally I don't do that in front of anybody because, you know, it's not like I'm embarrassed or ashamed or any of that kind of stuff. It's just like, usually I like to go to the side and do that. But I was with a student and I wanted to make sure that I was safe with him just in case. So I did it, and then the Holy Spirit said, this is your last one. You're not doing this no more. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that's 4 p.m. on the day I did the last video. And I already had an x-ray showing my lungs was in a horrible state. Don't even want to go into details of what that horrible state looked like because there's just too much medical information to throw out there to say it was in a horrible state. They said, nope, we're not doing this. So then the next day I saw my pulmonologist. I let him know what I just did about, I took myself off of the rescue inhaler. Didn't go into detail about the Holy Spirit. I'm just telling them that it just seems like, okay, don't seem right. And so then the next day when I got a chance to see him, because he was like, you probably want to come see me because I'm pulling myself off of this prescribed medicine. And so he got to see me and he heard me and he said, man, your lungs sound really great. What'd she talk about? Yesterday she said your lungs were terrible. So he did another x-ray. So this was 24 hours later. He did another x-ray 24 hours after that really bad x-ray from the pre-op, it was a pre-op, getting ready for the surgery. Man. And he said, the stuff we saw in yesterday's lungs is not there. Okay, yeah, it still shows a little shadow of the pneumonia because that's only a couple weeks ago, still going out, but it's a little shadow. But that other issue that was really grave, like what the heck is going on in both lungs, is not there 24 hours later. And after I had stopped taking the medication, because I'm always about not taking medication if it's not really fixing me. And I really don't like taking medication if I can help it. I like to do everything naturally. I like to eat my way to health, eat my way into being healthy, and eat my way into getting healthy. Not take a drug that is altering or changing something in my body unnaturally. So that's why I fought the first biologics. And that's a whole other story because I wasn't doing videos then. I actually probably wrote them down in all my devotionals that if you want to read those, read those. But long story short on that one, the only reason why I got on the biologic the first time 3 years ago, because I fought the doctors, but I was coughing so bad. They said, if you don't take this biologics, you're going to keep coughing, even though the lungs was good, but the coughing was horrible. It would never stop. So the Holy Spirit then told me, do you want to get well? I heard that. I took the medication. I stopped coughing. That's the only time I was like, okay, God, yes, you do put doctors and nurses and medical people out there to learn the skills to help people get well. We all just have to make sure that we're proactive and paying attention to what they are giving us, why they're giving us to research, that kind of stuff. Just don't take what somebody tells you blindly and take the drug, because it may not be good for you. I've seen too many people start off with one drug and then years later they have 25 drugs because they got to take this drug to counteract the other drug, to counteract the other drug, blah, 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 and then you're trapped. No, not doing that. So the doctors are always amazed when I come in 69 years old and have this super short list of medication that I do take. Very short list. They're like, that's all you take? You're 69 and that's all you, no, I don't take nothing else. If I can't eat it, I'm not taking it unless you can show me this is going to heal me, fix me. And the Holy Spirit told me that I need to take it. So, so in this situation, all right, so it's 24 hours. I hadn't been on this medication for 24 hours. That's nothing. 24 hours, and yet the x-ray was different. 24 hours. 24 hours. So now it's been a week. I have not had that medication. And I'm still coughing a little bit, but I'm not coughing as much. And so, of course, when I say that the body wants to cough, let me get a drink of water. It's almost like when the body says, oh, you want to talk about coughing? Let's get a cough in. I've been breathing on this thing here, so I've been doing this because they did give me this when I was rejected to make sure my lungs get expanded so I can breathe better and be better for the surgery, because at that time they thought maybe we could work it out, but I was thinking even in a week that was going to fix me. Well, I don't know. It's really when man was saying it. So 24 hours, my x-ray was a whole lot better. And then now a week later, like I said, I'm breathing better. I'm not winded when I'm going up and down stairs, in any additional, because you always get winded when you go downstairs. But me, I was so winded that I was winded walking straight on a flat land, taking cones and with a student, and I'm winded. I'm like, I'm flat, so if I go up the stairs, I'm like, please. So wow. Nope, so I'm not as winded. And I'm sleeping on my side or on my back. Normally, when I'm having something like this, before this week ago, I had to sometimes sleep upright to make sure that I could breathe during the night. So now during the night, I've been able, in this last week, sleep on my side or sleep on my back. I may start off upright just to see, and then I'll slip down. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm cool. I'm good. Because I always want to make sure, okay, this is for real, right? This is for real. I'm just like, oh, wow. Yeah, I can lay down. Cool. So I have been. And so that's a week after not taking the medication. So it's like, wow. So now I'm just at a state now of still waiting on the biologics issue of which biologics the doctor wants to use. My pulmonologist wants to use a Dupixent, and I've been reading up on that. So the Dupixent will be something I would take every 2 weeks by shot, unlike the other biologics that I took, where I was infused, where they actually put a needle in my arm and put it right directly into my vein, and that was once a month. So it's Dupixent. But at the same time, we need to make sure, like I've mentioned before, that the insurance will pay for it. And then if the insurance don't pay for it, who's going to pay the difference? And I pay nothing. So we still got to deal with that. But even before we get to that, I have to go through this. Next week, I got to go through a counsel with the person about the Dupixent. I'm like, why I got to talk to somebody? Like, can't we get this party started here? I'm always want to, like, come on, let's move it. So I got to have a counsel with this person about this drug, and then probably about the financial end of it. But at the same time, my pulmonologist, who is actually a big time person, because it's amazing how God hooked me up with a pulmonologist that has a name. I mean, he has a name on the building. He wants to get a second opinion. Not me. He wants to get a second opinion because he wants to make sure that they put me on the right biologics, because I'm such an unusual syphilin case. So it's almost like, for some reason, yours is doing some weird stuff that other people aren't doing that have the same kind of issue. And it's even more interesting because I couldn't even tell you anybody that I know that has this type of asthma. So my community is people online that I don't even know, that kind of stuff, because I can't say Mary next door has it and we can talk together. However, that's been interesting because I don't know how I came up with one of my students, but it turns out that one of my students just learned that she might have that kind of situation and getting ready to go into that. I'm like, wow, there's another person. There's a young student, however, but that was like, wow, God, how do you put us both in the same car to talk about this issue? And just obviously, if I'm already telling my story to this other person to get them prepared for what I'm going through. And hopefully hers is nothing near where mine is, though. And she, we just hope that's not her situation. But that's what they told her. They found her blood. That's a lot of people don't do that when they have asthma. They don't look in their bloodstream to see if their real problem might be an allergy problem. Their asthma problem might be an allergy problem that's causing them to have this complicated asthma issue. And it's not just a lung thing. That's just the oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to say, I see there, the words are gone. That's just a cause. That just, the effects of the allergens. It causes this lung thing of asthma where I can't breathe quite properly or my lung is not right. But anyway, so he's sending me to another doctor. That's another type of allergist, a deeper specialist, to make sure that they pick the correct one. So I got to wait for that appointment too. So there's two things I got to still wait for during this time of waiting to have this consult with this one person about the drug, and then a second opinion with this other one, and then we're going to do another CT scan with a full CT scan with the contrast just to see what that looks like by that time. So by that time, who knows? Maybe my lungs be super clear. Say, it doesn't matter because we still got to get this. We got to get my numbers down, regardless of what's going on with the lung. So you may have gathered that I talk fast, but I also walk fast. So I talk and move fast. I'm just a person that's always moving. Everybody knows how I am. I'm not a person that's going to sit there. Well, I'll take it back. I will sit still and be quiet because I love to read. Especially when I'm alone, I love to read and relax and that kind of stuff. So I'm not a person that I have to keep moving every second of the day. No, it's just that when I am moving, I move fast because I love to relax. I love to just chill. But when I'm on the move, I talk fast and I walk fast. So in that walking fast, that affects the air supply that I need because I'm walking fast. So the cool part about the last week, while I was going through this period of not being on the medication, I have been slowing my roll. So I've been walking a little slower, breathing a little deeper, besides breathing on the thing there. And it's been pretty cool, just walking slow. Actually, it's been the last couple of weeks, even before I kept myself off the medication, just say March. Because I have a lot of people I walk with, and every last one of those people, I have walked a lot slower with them. And they totally all was good with that. Like, okay, cool, we'll slow down for you because you're going through this breathing thing, but you don't want to stop. Yeah, I want to still keep it moving because I want to stay healthy by keeping it moving, but I'll need to walk faster than I need to do that right now, because I will get back to that later once God finishes this whole lung thing and the mask. So at times it's still hard for me to, every time I take off to go walk, just to walk through the house, I'm walking fast. I'm like, wow. Right now, of course, I just said this last week I'm feeling great, so I'm really trying to make sure I don't overdo it. Like, oh, I feel so good. Woohoo! Like, okay, let's not do this. Just still slow your roll. So it's cool. I'm slowing down and having even more peaceful times, walking slower. Now I can't tell you I'm talking slower. I'm trying to always talk slow for you because you know I talk fast on this video. But when I get excited, there we go. So I'm looking forward to the God's schedule that he has for me for the next few weeks. I mean, like I said, the day was great. And every day is going to be different because I thought I was going to be in the hospital for 2 to 3 days, laid up for several weeks, can't drive, in pain, all that kind of stuff. That's not happening this week. This week is, the next few weeks are basically different. I'm still going to be out there with the students, helping them learn how to drive because I might as well, because I got to cancel all that in June. So it's just going to get this done, help some of these students get done. So I'm looking forward to what his schedule is really going to be like for the next few weeks, especially since it's not going as fast as I would prefer. I would prefer if we come on, let's get to talk to these doctors real fast, make the determination, let's start doing this. If I got to take this Dupixent and this is the one, let's start this hit right now. Give me that thing. Because I'm already taking shots for allergies, so I'm already used to getting a shot every 4 weeks. So another shot every 2 weeks is not going to be a big deal. But let's get started. But nope, gotta wait on God's timing for when all of that is going to happen. So in the meantime, I just get to the joy of sitting around and watching God work because he's making me wait to get healed. So let's just look at Romans 8, verses 8, 26, and 28. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And we all have a purpose. I know I have a purpose. God has many things for me to do. He has me doing projects right now in the middle of this that we will talk about later, because he had me start up a 5th website, and it's going to be huge. And can't even talk about that because it's just so big. Just like, okay, God, that's an impossible task, and you got to do it because I'm just here to start it. You got to finish it. But I've been doing it in the middle of all this. But that's how he rolls, and I know how he has been for me all the time. He puts me on these journeys, puts all these things on my path that he wants me to do to accomplish for his purpose. So next week, well, I don't know what we talk about next week. Because next week I wasn't, well, okay, I'll have that council by then. It's on next Monday. So I can talk to you about what happened at the council. I'm like, I didn't go through this kind of detail for the first biologic. I know it took a little bit to get started because it was an insurance thing. It's always an insurance thing. They got to find out if they want to pay for it, who's going to pay for it. But this whole council thing, and then the second doctor opinion, just taking a little more time that I would prefer. But God's timing is always best. And next week we'll talk about what happened at the council. Have a great week, people.